Welcome back everyone. So just uploaded a video. It's Sunday as I'm making this, and I just uploaded a video a little while ago, and I'm actually quite shocked and quite amazed at the amount of people saying, "Oh Paul, it's good to see you back, where have you been, you've been away." Yeah, look, this is just going to be one of those chats between us, like a friendly old mates chat, if you like. Yeah, I've been a bit quiet recently, for obvious reasons, really, I would have thought. I mean, it's been a nightmare, isn't it, the last couple of weeks. I don't think any of us were prepared or saw any of this coming. We go back to the 27th of July. We had a great day, a very peaceful day, no problems. Everyone got on well. The police were okay, they weren't brilliant, but no real complaints. And then since then, really, all hell kind of broke loose. And I'm looking back, I've been looking back as to where all this started, because there's been a lot of changes, right? And a lot of people are feeling confused, angry, upset. Some people have been telling me they feel betrayed. Some people have been telling me that they don't even want to leave the house. That's how bad it's got. Some people literally don't even want to leave the house. How did we get to where we are in such a short space of time? Well, I think it's important to understand that there's a bit of a timeline going on here. And I've written it down because I don't want to get the timeline wrong. Even now, I'm not 100% sure that it's right. But as far as I can remember, I think where we've got to and where we are today probably started with that incident in Manchester at the airport, when we saw an individual being what appeared to be quite badly assaulted. Wow, look at that. Two Spitfires and a Hurricane flying over. That's where it kind of started. We saw one individual at least, that appeared to be being assaulted by a police officer. That was kind of where it started. How you doing, all right? Yeah. Nice camera. That's where it started. And we saw the media showing the world that these guys had been really badly treated and that the officer had been suspended, and everyone kind of suspected that something else had gone on but wasn't told. And then, blow me, a few days later, we got the full story. And I think that pissed off a lot of people. You know, I think a lot of people felt that, well, what's going on here? You know, we've got a policewoman that's had her nose broken, and the perpetrators are being portrayed as the victims by the media. And I think that upset a lot of people, to be fair. And as far as I'm aware, I want to make that clear because I don't know for sure. But as far as I'm aware, those two people still haven't been charged with anything to this day. Then, of course, we had those riots in Leeds. Again, very unfortunate, involving a community, a non-Indigenous community that lives here in the UK. We saw the reaction, or what many people feel was the lack of reaction from the police, sort of kid gloves treatment, getting away with things that ordinary Indigenous Brits feel that they shouldn't be getting away with. And a lot of people have looked at that, myself included, and thought, you know what, I think the police need to be dealing with that a little bit better than they are, you know, because if that was anyone else, they'd be coming down hard, but they didn't. And, you know, videos were coming through of police officers running away in the street, literally running away. Now, we all get, or most of us do, I certainly do, we all get that police officers' safety is paramount, and if there wasn't enough of them, they had every right to run away. But it's not good optics, is it? The optics aren't good. For your ordinary Fred and Joan sitting at home in front of their TV, the optics weren't brilliant. And the lack of action, or the perceived lack of action, again, I'm not saying it was a lack of action, I'm saying the general public's perceived lack of action toward that community didn't go down well with a lot of people. You know, all we want is law and order. I'm sure that's all any of us want. All I've ever wanted on this channel, all I've ever preached and promoted is peace, love, harmony, togetherness, law and order, one law and order, without fear, without favour, for all of us. And then I'm sure we'd all be happy. And I've got sick and tired of this talk of different communities, this community being treated that way, another community being treated another. Screw that, we just want all communities to be treated the same. And then we had the stabbing of that soldier. I don't even know if the bloke's okay. We haven't heard. It's been like, almost like it's been wiped from our memories, like it didn't happen, but it did happen and we know it happened. And very little has really been said about it for me. You know, I mean, a lot of people have been asking, oh, do we know how that soldier is? Well, no, we don't. There's not been any updates on him. It's like it never happened. And it's really unfortunate. I mean, there's 5 things here that happened all within the space of, what, 10 days, 2 weeks-ish, there or thereabouts. You know, a very unusual set of dramatic circumstances that I think all came together to get us where we are today. And then following on, not long after the stabbing of the soldier, was obviously the horrific and tragic, unspeakable murder of those 3 beautiful young girls. And following on to the public's perceived lack of justice and probably a lack of news from Manchester Airport, the lack of perceived justice and even-handedness in Leeds, the lack of initial news from the stabbing of the soldier, and then not too much news coming out about the murder of the 3 young girls and the perpetrator. That took a couple of days for the authorities, I believe from memory, to tell us about the origins of that particular individual. And by then, I think a lot of the public's patience, if you like, their patience, they're trying to think of the right word. Patience is probably the best word that I can think of right now. Their kind of patience and their trust. That's the word I'm looking for. Trust. Their trust in the media and the authorities to tell them the truth and what was really going on. Well, it all went wrong, didn't it? A very silly and untrue rumour hit the internet. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen that rumour. Thankfully, very thankfully, I did not perpetuate that. I didn't make that rumour public. In fact, the opposite, I told my audience to wait for official confirmation, which turned out to be probably the best bit of advice I've ever given anyone. Because we've seen what's happened to those people that didn't do that and that reposted that untrue claim, which was naive, but was it punishable by sending people to jail? I don't think it was. I mean, it was a mistake. A mistake. I mean, the BBC themselves have made worse mistakes than that. They told the world that, let me think back, they told the world that Israel had bombed the hospital, resulting in the deaths of a lot of people. It turns out that it was a outgoing missile that had exploded and that actually hadn't been sent over by Israel at all. So they made a mistake. Did the government go round and arrest them? Did the police turn up at the door of the newsreader that read it out and arrest them and sling them in court the next day? Well, no, of course not. I mean, mistakes happen. I think, you know, if we can't forgive mistakes, then we're in a real mess. What I will say is the people that actually perpetuated that rumour in the first place, they're the ones that should have been held accountable. That whoever makes up stuff, whoever makes up things like that deserves to be punished, because that is vile, it is wrong, and that is potentially damaging to community relations. And I've got no sympathy for anyone that makes up lies like that, that tries to target one community, doesn't matter what community that is, because that's out and out wrong. So I think those are the circumstances as to what has got us to where we are today. Where are we today? Well, we're in a position where none of us know what we can say, what we can talk about. We all have to be very, very careful, because none of us want to break the law. None of us want to do that. Nobody that I know deliberately sets out to try and get themselves or anyone else into trouble. You know that that's not what I'm about. And I've been sickened, to be honest with you, sickened to the stomach by some of the things that I've seen over the last couple of weeks. You know, all the hard work that moderates like myself are trying to do to unite this kingdom, to unite people of all races, colours, religions, creeds, unite us all behind the Union Jack so that we can all enjoy living in what used to be the best country in the world without a shadow of a doubt, bar none. This was the very best place to live on the planet. But that's changed, and it's no longer the best place to live on the planet, is it? Right now people are feeling unsure, they're feeling nervous, they're feeling scared. Different communities are, unfortunately, looking at each other with a degree of suspicion, and that's unnecessary. We don't need to be doing that. But we're doing that, or some communities are doing that, because of the media, in my opinion. The media have been culpable and responsible for resurrecting an organisation that ended 10 years ago and that doesn't exist as far as I'm aware. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, but I don't know of any far-right organisations that organise anything. I don't live in that world anyway, but I don't know of any. Do you? Because I don't. What I have seen, and I'm not taking sides here, I'm trying to be fair, I'm trying to be almost neutral in my commentary. What I have seen is a lot of hatred, pure venom, violence and threats and some really vile things from those on the left. That's where all the hatred seems to be coming from. And a lot of genuine, you know, middle-aged people, older people that are just concerned about the future for their kids. You know, they're being spat upon, shouted at, labelled as Nazi scum. That's not helpful, is it, guys? I mean, if anyone out there from the left is watching that, do you really, in your heart, I'm asking you a question if you're watching, do you really believe that those nan and granddads that are on the street moaning about certain things, do you really believe they're Nazis? Of course they're not. And I don't believe that you believe that either. So why do what you do? Why? That's not healing, is it? That's not bringing people together. That's not solving a problem. That's creating one for me. That's making things worse. That's like someone targeting everyone from a particular community as thieves or as muggers or as robbers or as bad citizens, all because they come from one particular community or have one belief. That's racism, that's discrimination, that's real discrimination. And I would never, ever discriminate. When I meet people the only colour or religion that I see is what's in their heart. And they'll reveal that to us over a period of time. It might take minutes, it might take months. But eventually you get to the bottom of someone and you find out what they're really like, what they really believe. And all this hatred from the left. And I have to say, you know, I know I sit on the centre right, but I have to say that, you know, where I live in Brighton, you know, I mean, there was a demo down here the other week. I say a demo. I think 3 people turned up. 3. This was on the night when the so-called far right were going to go out and be seen on our streets across the country. And 3 people turned up with a St George's cross. One of them was assaulted and the guy that did it was arrested. And there were hundreds of so-called, what did they call them? They called them peaceful anti-racism protesters. But you know what? From the behaviour that I saw, there was only one group that had a load of hatred in their heart, and it weren't the 3 poor souls that were stupid enough to go along with a St George's flag. And the police would agree with that because they arrested some people from the other side for basically trying to get to them. I mean, what are they going to do if they got to them? Rip them apart? Some kind of peace that is, right? So I think the time has come for moderates everywhere, from both sides, from all sides. Because there's more than one side, isn't there? There's not just 2 sides. The time has come for everyone to relax, chill out, calm down a little bit. And understand, we must all understand that people are entitled to different opinions. There are plenty of people whose opinions I can't stand. I can't agree with a single word they say. But it doesn't mean to say that I've got to hate them or wish them ill or want to commit violence against them. It's okay to disagree. As far as I know, it's still okay to disagree in this country. And the best way to settle any disagreement is by talking. The best way to solve any problem with anyone, especially when it's your own family. And if we all live in this country, to some degree, we are one big family. We might not necessarily be one big happy family, but we are a family. We're the British family. And the only way to solve a problem, when you've got a problem within your family, is to talk about it. It's to try and understand the other side's worries, their fears, what's on their mind, what's making them unhappy, what's making them feel unsettled. And I think as British people, we've always been happy and willing, I'm always happy and willing, to listen to other people's fears and concerns. And if we can help address them, fair enough, let's do that. Let's address people's fears so that everyone can try and be happy together. But right now, a lot of the indigenous Brits here don't feel that their fears or their concerns are being listened to. And there is a huge section, I believe that a huge majority of non-Indigenous Brits understand that and respect that. I'm often approached by people who weren't born here and they say, you know what, Paul, I agree with everything you say, mate. You know, I'm not after changing this country for the worst. I'm not after anything sinister. None of us are that I know. We just want to live in peace and in happiness. And more than anything, we want our kids to be safe. And after the events of the last few weeks, a lot of people are not confident about their children's safety and their children's future here. And whether Keir Starmer and his Labour government wants to accept that or not, that's the truth. That is the cold, harsh reality, the cold, harsh truth of the problems that people are worried about now. And unless he addresses that, I don't see his ratings, which are apparently at a -7 or whatever that means. In other words, I think pretty much everyone that voted for him is starting to regret it. Unless he wants to change that perception, well, he's got to change his ways and he's got to start listening. Right guys, a beautiful day down here on the south coast. Thank you so much for telling me how much you've missed my videos. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm being sensible, I'm being prudent. And you know, I think everyone should do that. I've always said that with social media comes responsibility. If you are called an influencer and you are influencing people, then it's better to try and influence them in the right way than in the wrong way. I've always said that, and that's the way it'll always be. Hopefully that's one of the reasons why a lot of you guys enjoy watching or listening to what I have to say, because I do try and be a voice of reason. Right guys, as always, I love you all, take care, and we'll speak again soon.